Deep in the heart of Whispering Woods, there stood an ancient oak tree, taller than any other in the forest. This tree had stood for centuries, its twisted branches stretching toward the sky like the arms of time itself. In the hollow of this mighty tree lived a wise old owl named Oliver. One evening, as the animals gathered around the great oak tree, a young monkey named Max climbed up to Oliver's branch. "Oliver, why don't you ever talk?" Max asked curiously, swinging from a vine. The old owl blinked slowly and replied in a calm voice, "Because wisdom comes from listening, not speaking." Max frowned. "That doesn't make sense. If you don't speak, how will others know what you think?" Oliver simply smiled and said, "The more you listen, the more you understand. The more you understand, the wiser you become." Max scratched his head and jumped down. Still confused, Oliver was no ordinary owl. He had seen countless seasons change, had listened to the whispers of the wind, and had watched the animals of the forest grow, learn, and make mistakes. But most importantly, he spoke very little and listened a lot. Unlike the other creatures who chattered all day, Oliver observed everything in silence. His golden eyes gleamed under the moonlight as he watched the world unfold before him. The animals of Whispering Woods were always talking. The squirrels gossiped about who had the biggest acorns, the foxes boasted about their clever tricks, and the rabbits argued over the best hiding spots. One day, a cunning fox named Felix ran through the forest, shouting, "Everyone, gather around. I have an important announcement." The animals rushed to see what the excitement was about. "I have discovered a secret place where the juiciest fruits grow," Felix declared. "But I can't tell you where it is, unless you give me something in return." The rabbits, monkeys, and birds whispered excitedly, "What do you want, Felix?" a rabbit asked. Felix grinned slyly. "Each of you must give me your best food first, then I'll tell you where the secret fruit grows." Desperate for the special fruit, the animals handed over their nuts, berries, and seeds to Felix. He gathered everything into a pile, his bushy tail swishing happily. But as soon as he had all the food, Felix laughed. "Foolish animals, there is no secret fruit. I just wanted a feast for myself." The animals gasped in shock. "You tricked us," Max shouted angrily. Felix chuckled. "That's what happens when you believe everything you hear." Just then, a deep voice spoke from above. "And that is why it is wiser to listen first and speak later," said Oliver, his golden eyes glowing in the moonlight. The animals turned to Oliver. "What do you mean, wise owl?" asked a small deer. Oliver ruffled his feathers and spoke slowly. "Felix used clever words to make you act without thinking. If you had listened carefully and asked questions, you would have realized there was no proof of his story. Instead, you let excitement guide your actions." The animals looked down, embarrassed. "But how do we know when someone is telling the truth?" Max asked. Oliver nodded. "A wise creature always listens carefully, asks questions, and thinks before acting. If something sounds too good to be true, it often is." Max thought about this for a moment. "So, if we had asked Felix more questions, we wouldn't have been fooled?" "Exactly," Oliver said. "Words can be powerful, but wisdom lies in knowing when to trust them." The animals murmured in agreement. After that day, the animals of Whispering Woods became more careful. They listened more, spoke less, and thought before acting. Max, who was once full of chatter, now took time to observe and learn. One evening, Felix the fox tried another trick. "I have found a hidden tunnel filled with golden acorns," he announced. "Follow me, and I will show you." But this time, the animals did not rush to believe him. Max stepped forward and asked, "Where is this tunnel, Felix? Can we see it first before we give you anything?" Felix hesitated. Well, it's very far away, but you must give me food first." The animals laughed. They had learned their lesson. "We will only believe you if we see proof," Max said firmly. Felix, realizing his tricks wouldn't work anymore, slunk away into the shadows. High above in the great oak tree, Oliver watched and smiled. The forest had finally learned the true power of wisdom, patience, and listening.